So hi, my name's Mosh. I am doing a panel called "Please Stop Playing Minecraft: How to Make Better Maps and Mods." I called it that because, well, I do not like the state of what Minecraft maps look like right now, and it's a huge problem. But first, let me introduce myself. I came into Minecraft in 2012, making YouTube videos like most people do, and then I moved on to making custom content. My first in 2013, Calamity, which some of you may recognize, is played through Minecraft and Yogcast. You know, back in the day, they were popular. Now, from that, I moved on to work with the Voxabox to release the Genius Machine, Muckluck Lodge, and a few other projects, and I actually quit my job to do that full time right up until Mojang introduced their corporate guidelines. And since then, I have been working on a podcast called the Green Mug Podcast to promote vanilla custom maps. I have experience doing this before with limited engagement. In the last 2 years, it was a 10-episode show. We interviewed a couple Mojang developers on the show. We promoted a lot of custom maps and talked about custom map creation in Minecraft. Before Minecraft, I worked in the Half-Life 2 modding scene, and from the start of that to watching the heyday of that, from when the first version of Stanley Parable dropped, when Dear Esther dropped, Counter-Strike, Red Orchestra, when they made the jump from being a mod to a game, made from Unreal to being a game. And before that, Quake 2, where we saw the kind of beginnings of Gloom, which then I believe that some of those team members went to work on Natural Selection, which ended up being its own game. To say that I've been working in the modding scene for a long time would be probably since about 1999. So I'm here today to talk about why we need to stop playing Minecraft. And that is because Minecraft is slowly becoming a game development platform. And for this talk, I'm going to ask that all of you, I'm kind of in this weird position right now where I'm a command blocker. I use vanilla command blocks. I pretty much essentially only work within vanilla Minecraft. I don't use mods, but I feel like I'm kind of surrounded by people. So I ask that we just suspend our belief for a second between the differences between custom mods and maps. I'm just going to blanket it all as custom content for Minecraft. So we have a lot of different for example, we have Game Mode 4, which is enhancing vanilla Minecraft. We have a lot of mods that are enhanced vanilla Minecraft. But the problem with it, and the problem that I'm seeing with custom maps in particular, I'm talking parkour maps, I'm talking here the CTM maps. There's a lot of maps where we're completely entrenched in Minecraft culture, this kind of weird culture that came out of bugs in the game, that came out of what we had available at the time, and a lot of that would be the survival games. A lot of that is the Hunger Games before that, the UHC that was popular at that time, and then also the rise of mini games. And I'm talking about Badline, any kind of ranking games, a lot of mini game servers, and a lot of the custom maps that are coming out kind of shadows of what these initial products were. And it's a really sad and really kind of depressing scene right now, because I found in a lot of the previous games that I've played, from Half-Life 2, from Quake 2, from to Jedi Knight, LucasArts, a lot of the best ideas didn't come from the game culture itself, but rather someone bringing in an outside idea in and making something new. And I find that Minecraft into more of a game development platform, we need to stop thinking of Minecraft as a game that we create things inside of, but rather as a tool more akin to Adobe Photoshop, more akin to Modeling Maker, the level designers. And once we start realizing that, hey, maybe staring at a blank page, staring at an open blank file or a bit of code for that isn't the best way to get more creative. So I'm asking people to please stop playing Minecraft and instead go some books, go play other games. And when you see the other movies, music, other people and other culture and other things outside of Minecraft, you can start thinking critically, okay, how can I turn that into a game? How can I turn that into a mod? Games, you should be studying and be thinking, oh, why did they do this? Why did they make this decision at this time? There's a quote. Excuse me. There's a quote that I absolutely love from William Faulkner. It says, read everything, the trash, classics, good and bad, see how they do it. Just like a carpenter who works as an apprentice and studies the master, read. You'll absorb it, then write. And if it's good, you'll find out. If throw it out the window. And instead of just playing Minecraft, instead of staring at Minecraft and figuring out what to do, we should be playing other games and realizing what the pros are doing, what they've done already, and study why they made these decisions. Like, you take someone like Jonathan Blow, his work with The Witness, the work with Braid, or even Phil Fish. Despite all the drama, if you look at all the decisions he made when he was making Fez, these are genius decisions that come from really well-designed games. So, at this point, I'm just going to pause. I've said a lot, and I've rambled a lot, and I'd like to take a few questions before I get back to what we should be thinking about and how this is going to help develop Minecraft, promote Minecraft as a game development platform.
Okay, so like obviously you're saying that when we get into this map making or mod making or whatever mode, we shouldn't be thinking of Minecraft as a game. But would you also say it's like toxic or some other word for that, for someone to just play survival Minecraft when they're also a content creator for Minecraft?
No, and I think we should definitely make that distinction of when you're playing Minecraft and when you're using Minecraft as a development tool. One of the things I've done as I create stuff is I have tons of worlds and I have tons of resource packs where I've changed the models, I've changed the textures, I've built my own worlds using MC Edit, using World Edit, using and I've designed those world player, single player, all those kinds of things. I've put them together to it's a production environment, and I have many different projects that the world and the resource pack hooks together. Then I also have a fun profile where I play other maps, where I play survival Minecraft. Distinct mindsets and ways that we need to set up development environment. So, does anyone else have a question about why we should stop playing Minecraft and maybe why Minecraft could start being viewed as more of a development tool?
Kind of silly one here. Seeing as I hardly ever play Minecraft, and the only mod I've done really is OC Mips, which basically adds an emulator, or adds a MIPS CPU emulator to open computers. Am I doing it right?
I believe you absolutely are. There's many rules that come with game development and I believe I need to kind of position my talk and position this panel as I'm speaking to game developers specifically, and not people who are also making tools for games. So for open computers, for things like that, these are tools that could help game developers make better games. If you're making a mod, that could also be considered maybe a library, or be something that could aid a game to be created. And mods themselves can also be very fun. I like to be very careful to say that I don't think mods are just tools to make games. I think mods can also be games in their right. And this will bring me into my next point. There is a strange culture we have with Minecraft, and I find it so strange when compared to how the Half-Life 2 modding scene matured, and how the Quake modding scene, and how those kinds of engines developed. And I mean, even StarCraft and Warcraft 3, and then Dota rising out of those, and League from Dota. Those we considered mods to be either add-ons to the game, but also largely games in themselves. I don't think there's anyone who was playing Half-Life that flipped over to Counter-Strike and said, you know what, this is an extension of Half-Life. This is Half-Life, just a little different. Everyone felt like it was a different. And then you take something like the Killing Floor, which, yes, had a lot of guns from Unreal Tournament, or Unreal 3, was it? But it was still, in its right, its own game. Dear Esther, Stanley Parable. There's so many games, Red Dead Redemption even. We considered them their own games and their own separate product, but within Minecraft, this is a very strange thing that's happened, where mods mostly feel to be additions to Minecraft, where it's supposed to enhance the Minecraft experience, but it still relies on the two basic principles of mining, crafting tools, or putting together spells, or pipelines, or gathering, organization. There's so much primarily not a thank you unsubscribe. What I find, there's a lacking surprise, a total lack of conversions in Minecraft. This is what unsubscribe said, and I absolutely agree. That's the weirdest part. It's a strange culture, and you know, Minecraft is getting to this point where cross-platform is becoming a reality, with the addition of Windows 10 using kind of the same code base, or based off the same code base as Pocket Edition, as the console editions, as all these other editions. They're slowly and eventually going to reach parity. And when we realize, like, what that really means is a ton of more players. And for if and when that API ever came out, we're going to need developers who are also level designers, that are also game designers, that are not just people who are enhancing Minecraft itself, but also viewing Minecraft as its own platform, because if that's what it's moving to, giant, major, amazing platform. And we do have IP that is already well developed in it. If you look at content creators like FE Disco with his mini games, Cake Defense 2, Sonic the Hedgehog, he has a very, very distinct, strong style. Hypixel has a medieval style. Voxelbox had its own crazy, amazing style. Bloxworks has a very technical, very crazy looking style. Nox Crew has a very futuristic type of thing. There's a lot of IP and a lot of maps that are created out there that could be developed using Minecraft as a release platform, and it's not that crazy to think about anymore. And 3 years ago, I'd be like, no, that's never going to happen. This is still kind of a weird, crazy subculture, but it's getting there. Maps are getting more prevalent. Map Pack, Xbox now, yes, they're by the developers from the Microsoft side, but still, it's happening. The idea is in the head that, hey, they're releasing map packs. Why can't I do that? They have this whole new aliens and stuff. Why can't I do that? So I'll open up the floor about this part. I have a lot of strong beliefs about what Minecraft can.
All right.
Go ahead, please.
So, how does this mesh out with, let's say, something like Reactor Idle, which is taken heavily from things like IC2 and Buildcraft?
Would you be able to just further explain that mod a bit for me?
So, Reactor Idle is it's actually a flash game. It's a dumb flash game, but it's taken mechanics from in Minecraft and produced a standalone game.
We're moving towards it then. I hadn't heard of that. That sounds awesome.
I think
So it's a flash game that's inside Minecraft, or is just taking the elements and
No,
translating them into the 3D space?
No, it's taken elements that come straight out of the, let's say, the IC2 reactor GUI, and it's taken it completely outside of Minecraft and replicated it in Flash.
Okay. So it's a game that's based on configurations from IC2.
Right.
Okay. That sounds like a completely different conversation. I mean, it's a game that made basically from logic puzzles, essentially, right? Whether what if IC2 didn't exist? Like, where would this be translated from? Any kind of draw the line puzzles or flip the pipes, that kind of thing?
It's not like that. I mean, it pretty much couldn't exist without IC2.
Oh. That's an interesting... Sorry, go ahead.
It's a heat diffusion simulation, and I kind of love those.
Yeah, and one of the other things as well is it directly takes a lot of concepts that are from Minecraft, like the slots, for example. I don't really see systems precisely like Minecraft slot system that often. It's a fixed grid of slots that you can configure freely rather than a bag of slots or something similar.
I mean, Factorio was...
Factorio fits in the same class. It was inspired by Buildcraft.
But
The other
very,
thing
very lightly.
The other thing that I wanted to just briefly call people's attention to are actually Vasquez making a million tiny mods these days. Psy in particular might be a really good example of what you're trying to push us towards. Psy is actually a mod based on the Irregular at Magic High School. So it's I don't know. It's an example of how you might be able to bring content from outside into Minecraft.
Thank you. From the kind of vanilla command block game side to another mod that I just kind of want to call people's attention to is Game Mode 4 by Sparks, or Accidental Games. It's kind of like enhancements to Minecraft, and I believe they also have a few story-based modules. It's a very fantastic server available, and also command block creation. So check into that. The IC2. I come from a very unique background where I have a lot of quality assurance jobs under my belt, from food factories to automotives to office paperwork, shipping and handling, and jobs. Quality assurance is kind of what I do, but I also have a degree in supply chain management. And the closest thing that, as you guys were describing, the closest thing I could think of is supply chain management, which is moved from factory to factory, but also moving them through production lines and also keeping track of expiration dates, things like that. It's not quite like heat dispersion, of course, but I could see the correlations there, which will move me into my next point.
I have another question. So regarding the whole thing, see Minecraft as a game platform and then more as a platform to build your own game and build your own ideas, I think there is a lot of issues with the lacking of licensability. You can't basically take Minecraft as an engine, put on your game, do a full conversion and release something like that, just because there is no way of doing that right now. And I feel like that's like something that is missing and lacking right now that would move the whole Minecraft as a game development platform way forward. Where Microsoft has to step in at probably some point.
A lot of issues, definitely. I completely agree with you. Particularly anything created with Minecraft, you kind of have to just let Mojang use, which is a frustrating caveat to their was it guidelines user agreement.
Yeah, end user agreement.
And yeah, the end user, the EULA. So I have tons of issues with that. But I like to set that aside because it's a problem that we can't really address because we're, as you said, release our own games using Minecraft. And that's going to bring me into my next point that I want to talk about, which is what does it really take to truly consider Minecraft as a game development platform? And we're closer than we've ever been before in years. I've been doing this from the release of command blocks initially, and I've worked primarily in Minecraft through texture packs, resource packs, and through command blocks to create custom experience as possible. We're at this point now where I'm able to write pseudocode using Minecraft commands and press a button in Sublime, which is my choice of text editor, to build it, which is run it through a one command compiler that copies it to my clipboard, put that in a command block, and it develops a function-oriented code and allows me to write separate functions that I can call in order. And it's still very janky, very pseudocode, very not intuitive or fun. It's magic most of the time. But it's allowing me to lay out logic a lot more quickly, not worry about keeping the code synced between the text documents and the Minecraft command code. Or the in-game blocks, and it's making building and testing functions super quick. So we're kind of, as developers using only command blocks, have kind of conquered that. We're getting to that point, which is fantastic. The second thing that we've kind of with is figuring out the aspects and abilities of different blocks. And we can change the look of a block, we could change the model of a block, we could change a lot of aspects of the block, so we're kind of there with level design and asset design. We build models and import assets, so we're kind of there, but all of this aside, we can change the look and feel, we can actually build an experience, we can deliver sound and text in meaningful and useful ways. We're there, it's not amazing, but we're kind of there. But still, we have to get to the real problem that was we can't really release our own game because a lot of custom maps, a lot of custom mods come with their own installers. They custom maps come in zip files, which is the primary group of people who are releasing quote-unquote custom games. But we should really be using installers. We should be able to have our own launcher profile that has our own settings and our own mod and our own setup with our own menu system. Why is this not a thing? This is the next bit that we need to conquer, which is need to work with mod makers, need to work with command blockers, need to work with kind of us as a community of content developers need to make it easier for the end user, which, as I'm sure a lot of you know, can be difficult to deal with. And that's what it is. But being able to just one-click install and then say, go here, open the game, choose this profile, then you can play it, creates a custom experience so much better than ever before. And I feel like a lot of mod developers kind of take this for granted. You have repos, you do have these great kind of installers that work a lot of the time, all the time. It's a kind of a fantastic experience installing a mod, but we don't have that as custom map makers, and that's frustrating. So we're kind of coming in the last half hour of my bit, so I'll open up the floor again for some more questions or comments.
So I've seen an opinion a lot in some areas of the community where there are like modders or map makers who, because updates to the game sometimes break their stuff and they may not play the vanilla game, I've seen a lot of people say that Mojang should just update like map maker content creator stuff and should not continue to add features. Now, I personally don't agree with this. I think you should please both the people who just play Minecraft and the people who make content for it. But I was just wondering what your take was on that.
We have this huge hatred for Minecraft updates as major map makers. We spend a lot of time relying on glitches, relying on neat, weird little features to that allow us to do something we haven't done before, like raycast, crazy, angular, weird stuff. I can't even think of anything right off the top of my head, but we have 36 is a great example. When Block 36 was removed, it made all of us cry a little bit because we relied on that for so many glitches or so many kind of great things. Stone slabs too. We rely on glitches, and I've always fought against this. I'd rather not use a glitch. I'd rather work within the confines and constrictions of what the platform has offered me, and I've always maintained this from the first time that I tried to make a map. I was using redstone, very basic commands. I avoided using block 36. I avoided using any kind of glitch I could. I tried to work within the confines of the game, and there's one reason for that. It's to keep my game maintainable through the platform updates. So if the game updated and I wasn't able to method before, I would be able to at least find something that was comparable and go from there. I've been very lucky through a lot of the updates before 1.9. I was very lucky to not have to deal with many updates my stuff, because I focused on keeping my code and keeping my logic maintainable as possible. Is that do you have any questions about that?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions?
So, sort of going off of that question, I know you said that you avoid glitches when you can, and if something was a feature in the game, you would use it, but given something that's not necessarily a glitch, such as using entities for collision detection or using squids or armor stands to keep track of positions, if there was an official way in the game to do this that might be more complicated than that, would you use it?
Absolutely, and I think that's a sign of being a professional. Is to say that I'm professional. I mean to say that I try to use the best tools and the best options available to me in the best way possible. And even if the way is more complicated, it should be a way that's thoroughly documented, and the people who want to use it and want to be, quote unquote, a professional should use even the more complicated way, because it is technically the right way and the way that the developers have implemented it for use.
All right, that's a good answer.
Thank you. Does anyone else have a question?
Just to expand on what you've been saying, how do you feel about map makers making use of block update bugs? Or, let's say, bud detectors, to be more neutral about them?
That was redundant.
We've, as map makers, we don't really need to rely on block update detectors for anything anymore, because we have test for block. We have entities that we can pivot off of the player if we need to test whether or not we have the right in the right place, or the right thing has been updated, or anything like that. There is always a way to do something. It may be a little more convoluted and complicated to get there, but it's, I mean, to more address your point, but is kind of a bug that became, and the Windows 10 and the Pocket Edition version have updated this to be an observer block. And I would kind of stick to my guns on this and not rely on a block update detector, because it's not really officially supported. Kind of is, because I mean they broke it and then they fixed it. So it's unofficially supported out, something like that. But I would eventually use an observer block if it ever came to the PC version.
All right, thank you.
I have time for one more question before I just kind of launch into my final bit. All right.
I would give people a minute to type. Someone might be typing a long question.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Not everyone's in mumble.
Right. Thank you.
Tell a joke.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to ask a question. If they did, they probably would have copied their text and then said, wait, hold on, and then pasted it back. Okay, so continue.
Thank you. All right. So, circling back to my first point, if we assume that Minecraft is a game development platform, if we assume it's a blank sheet of paper, it's something that we sometimes need to just walk away from. Another quote from one of my favorite content creators, a guy named Max Landis. He's kind of this hotshot Hollywood screenwriter, but he says something I find was really important. When you're writing, you should be dictating previously thought. When you actually go to get to do the thing that you want to do, you really should just have already thought about what you're doing, and now you're just following through the motions. And I find if people struggle with making mods or struggle with thinking of ideas, to just put the game away, put it down, go play something else, and then as you're playing it, you should be thinking about what the idea is, what the issue is, what viewpoint are they approaching it from. Story.
Is Mumble actually rip, or did he just time out?
No, it's just his internet, it looks like.
Oh my god. Alright, I don't know where I cut out.
Whatever you were talking about, we heard sto, and then you cut off.
But before that, what a sentence?
Does anyone have a sentence memory of more than two words?
Oh, sorry.
Nope.
We don't.
Is anyone actually listening?
I just blanked out.
Not
because
entirely
they started
sure.
shooting.
I mean, I am
Talking
jumping
about, like,
around
some
and shit, but I am
hotshot,
listening.
director.
Hot.
And like code.
Oh yeah, and you were saying like go play a game or something, or
Yeah.
do something, but keep thinking. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
See,
that's
I
where-
was listening. I told you.
Yeah,
That's
the
the
long
point.
period of science, the long period of silence made it leave like my memory. I was listening, I promise. It just
I thought you
disappeared.
would
Oh,
not
you were
just in
saying
this
that.
Draco.
Alright.
You were also saying that any writing that you do when you sit down to write, it should be dictating previous thought. I think that's where we left off.
And I'd like to misappropriate that to game design. When you sit down to design a game, when you design a map or you design a level, a texture, a mod, a model, anything, it should be, if you're struggling and you're a person that typically struggles with what to come up with, you should be somewhere else, thinking about something else, playing different games, watching movies, looking at art, reading books, taking a walk, talking to people, and to kind of start forming thoughts and relating what you want with what you're seeing and taking what you like from it and being inspired to come up with your own thoughts. When you finally sit down and you open Minecraft and you open Photoshop or your game or your IDE or your text document to create your mechanics, anything, you can think about what you already want and then you could just make that. You already have the visual in your head. You have everything that you want to do in your head. So when I'm asking you to please stop playing Minecraft, I'm asking you really to go find something else original and bring it back and make it your own. End of my talk and my panel. I will open the floor again one more time for questions. Well, thank you very much for listening, and I'm still waiting for questions. I just wanted to also thank you for accepting my panel, and thank you guys for being so kind and asking really interesting and relevant questions. If you have more, or you want to follow what we do, or what I do, you can check out my website, moesh.ca. That's moesh.ca. I do a podcast called Greenbug. I also talk to other game developers. My next podcast coming out, I will be talking to a developer from EA, Murray, and Alexo56 asks, what other games should we play then? I am playing Guacamelee right now, which is a Metroidvania about luchadors. So that's kind of cool. Instead of like in Metroid, when you turn in Guacamelee, you turn into a chicken. So it's a game with a lot of heart and a lot of really cool kind of back and forth traveling, backtracking, and great challenge for a platformer. Yeah, try that one. Just if you want to be a game developer, start thinking like a game developer.
Can I recommend Ludum Dare as a thing if you want to do game development, like do game jams?
Absolutely.
Actually, yeah.
Definitely.
Some of the work that I'm proudest of is actually done on Ludum Dare, so I would definitely second that.
Yeah, and on the
Somebody's
Minecraft
gonna need
modding
to
side of things,
type
this
that
is going to
in
be
the
the
hole
second
for me.
time I'm plugging this during the con. It's spelled Ludum Dare, so you got the first word correct. But anyway, coming up next month is the modding trials, I think, and it's basically Ludum Dare but for Minecraft mods. So if you're more into the modding side than game development, but we probably should get into game development at some point, just saying, then you can join the modding trials. And the modding trials, yes, are basically a spiritual successor of Mojang. There's more information on the Feed the Beast subreddit.
I don't know if you like Metroid-esque stuff, Falcon, I would probably recommend Axiom Verge.
Axiom Verge and oh man,
You had something
Ori.
else. Ori.
Ori. We have this bottomless. We have this bottomless hunger for Metroidvanias. So.
If I can plug a couple maps, that would be really great. Anything by Jiggerbob is guaranteed to be a good experience. A Metroidvania type of thing he created there was Infinity Dungeons, which could be a couple hours of it, and it's great. It's kind of a meets roguelite, which I know kind of flies in the face of each other, but you'll get it. Another great map of his is also Simburbia, which has adventure elements mixed with SimCity. And I'm trying to think of any other map developer. Mine's going crazy. I have a lot of great maps on my website. Beyond Perception 2 is another Minecraft map that's great, which if you've played the game Beyond Perception, they recreated it in Minecraft, but then they also created a sequel. And it's pretty good. You definitely start to go with Minecraft if we start thinking of it as a game development platform. And the same goes for any of Jiggerbob's maps.
Just real quick question, because a lot of this convention is to do with mods. I was just curious, what is your stance on like maps that include or work with mods? Do you think that's a good idea, or do you think that's too much of a barrier for people to come in and play?
I think if the installer installs the map and installs the thing and maybe changes the main menu to say play game instead of load map, I'm into it. Let's do it. Let's please more of it. Even mods that work really well. I mean, everyone loved Deep Sea Turtle Trace. That was a beloved product from the Box Box because of its mixture of mods and maps and the flying things and everything, like just the voiceovers, and that was possible because of mods. And we need more of that. We need map makers and mod makers and level designers to work together, and we need level designers to start realizing Minecraft is kind of the best level out there right now. Everything else is an asset-based level design that takes control away from level designers to technical people. And Minecraft, the person that's making it pretty can also make it functional and awesome. And that's kind of an amazing thing. So I hope modders and map makers that can pull it together enough to make something awesome.
That's kind of what I like about ultra hardcore maps. Honestly, is the fact that it tends to be a little bit more cohesive and more like story. It's closer.
Oh, super hostile maps?
Yeah, like Crash Landing, which was brutal to begin with. It was almost unplayable. And then we discovered that you could drink etching acid, and then we just enjoyed the story.
I remember that. That
Oh,
was
my
pretty
Lord.
excellent. Prototype, you could drink etching acid.
You can't anymore. They patched it.
Oh.
Yeah, well.
To follow up with Xpany 2 there, making mod packs is easy. It's having issues with Java that's super annoying. I think the people who are attracted to making custom maps in Minecraft are often absolutely terrified of putting together a mod pack and doing it with that. I don't know if it's a stigma, just lack of skill, or just lack of understanding of how things work. But it's hard enough to learn command blocks. It's hard enough to try to learn the logic, that's the backward selector logic, the scoreboard logic, and the ridiculousness hoops that we have to jump through that. And then making a map on top of that. It seems like it would be easier, but I don't think the research has been done for mods that would help game designers. And maybe that should be a project. And maybe, if someone's listening to this that can help me do that, I would absolutely love to. Game designers mod pack could be a cool idea.
Yeah, that could be cool. Like a mod pack that just adds like more commands or something, or maybe even like a special kind of command block, like an event block would be really nice.
Trigger location block.
Yeah,
Sorry, go
ultimately,
ahead.
sort of as a server admin, command blocks I find incredibly frustrating because, as you were saying before, you used to use like block update detectors and stuff to trigger things, and now instead you use test for block. But the problem with test for block is it's running in a loop. constantly checking the block, which is an absolute nightmare for lag. On the other hand, block update detectors, believe it or not, are actually very fast because they use block updates.
Another point to expand on that is I believe command blockers have been incredibly inefficient up until this point. Because you don't need that to be testing the block the entire game. You only need to really be testing the block when the player's in the area and the event hasn't been triggered yet, and the player doesn't have this flag yet, or the player doesn't have this flag testing for whatever. Like we've been incredibly ineffective and really, frankly, amateur-ish. A lot of the time, not everyone. Don't get it twisted, but we need to start. We don't worry about efficiency. We don't worry about lag nearly as much, and that's just something we need to start changing.
Yeah, but the thing is though is so you say like, oh, use a scoreboard flag on the players, but how are you going to check that scoreboard flag? Are you going to use a command block clock? Because that's the exact same problem.
Actually, if you execute the command through a player that has a certain scoreboard objective, the command doesn't run unless it can actually execute it through that player.
Yes, but you're still incurring the cost of executing the command and checking all of the parameters, which is pretty much the most expensive part of executing a command.
Oh, never mind.
We also have like a scoreboard players test. We also have obviously a test for a player instead of execute player. We can test for a player with a specific tag or with a specific thing. Let's assume multiplayer situation, of course, right? So we still have to identify all players. We still have to figure out what tag they have. But another feature that we have now that we didn't have before is the directional command blocks, which no longer cause block updates unless I believe they're run. But they're way more efficient than they've ever been. Still, I understand what you're saying. The actual testing all entities is really expensive, and it's a problem, definitely. But we can also load and unload chunks. Blocks will automatically start and stop as those chunks load in and those chunks load out. So can kind of get it a little bit better, but it's still a huge issue.
Yeah, ultimately, of course, the main reason I'm saying this is because it's just got me thinking with the event blocks for the map creator mod. Just imagine you place down a command block, you configure it to instead of always active or needs redstone, you set it to event, I guess, for lack of a better term, and then you enter in the condition in the box, and then you don't have to power it, you don't have to run it in a clock or anything. It's just when that event becomes true, it emits redstone or executes a command block chain.
That sounds great. That sounds like where we should be heading for. Like our biggest block as map developers is having location-based events. Like everything has to be global right now. We have a lot more power than we've ever had with using entities that have no hitbox, like area effect clouds. We can use them as markers now, technically, because our maps don't last for 3 years. Or at least the game state usually doesn't last for 3 years, so that's kind of helpful. But we can group and we can target and scope multiple entities in multiple places and run tests. We can separate our test logic from our action logic more so than we ever could before, which is crazy and awesome. The fact that we're able to actually just do kind of scoreboard logic and testing before we even set blocks, or we do particle effects, or we do gives, or teleports, whatever we need to do. Being able to do that would be great. Another problem that we need to conquer is connected textures and texture stretching and giving properties to blocks. Like, if this block is broken, trigger this event, right? Like as you were saying before. But anyways, then AI scripting it and then scripting it Lua and then using command blocks. I believe there's mods that do that, don't they? Could they be used for custom map creation? But I write all my command block. I can dictate whether or not a command block is repeating or impulse or a chain command block. I can tell whether it's conditional or not. And I'm at this level where I'm able to write functions that do a single thing and then sequence those functions in order and have that load in and work properly and work within the confines of not relying on a bug or a certain behavior that might change. And that is, I'm able to do that. You can go to my website, mosh.ca, and just click the link, RTFM, and under that link is read the friendly manual, and you will see how to automatically compile command code. It's it's kind of crazy, but we can do it now, which is so strange.
You mean like a language that compiles to command blocks?
Exactly.
Yeah, I always thought that was coming.
Mm-hmm. I've wanted it for so long, and there's nothing that quite fit what I wanted. But with Smelt by NASP, it's kind of the CLI he made, and it's a shell command. And by using Sublime's build systems, I can hook my Minecraft command code, which is a syntax highlighter I have for Minecraft, into Smelt, run the file through it, and then it puts the one command in my clipboard, which then I can paste into a block, which then generates all the functions with all the mark to call them. The entity-oriented location independent as well, which is awesome. It's a new era. Well, I'm going to head off to rest my throat, but I'm looking forward to the next panel.
All right.
See you.
It was good having you do a panel.
And Sangar, I enjoyed your panel very much. I managed to catch it. It was great. Thank you. All right. Bye.